And 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome back to the New Generation Bodybuilding Podcast.
What's happening, everyone?
Episode number 2. All the boys. Cool. So we've got Callum, we've got Elliot, we've got Jamie, and we've
I'll
got
still out-angle you on Zoom, bro.
Cool. All right. So we got some topics that we're going to talk about and put out some good shit. So for the first one, what separates an athlete from just another person training?
You want to start, Con?
No. Someone else start.
All right, I'll start off and we'll have a conversation about it. So I think quite clearly, obviously, everyone's going to have different genetic abilities. People are going to be built differently genetically, etc. I think the main thing that comes to my mind straight away is mindset. Straight away, you've got to be completely, like, if you want to go to the furthest you possibly can in a sport, you have to be kind of weird. You have to honestly have some different mindset to 99% of the population to take it to different lengths, to different deep ends that other people wouldn't do. Like, it's just one of them things. Like, no matter what your build is in any sport, not even just bodybuilding, like any sport, however far you want to take it, you have to be mentally different to 99% of people. Does anyone else want to add to that? I know Connor definitely wants to talk a lot about mindset. This guy's for 17 years old. This guy's mindset's different.
I mean, yeah, like you said, mindset is probably the main factor to separating a normal person to an athlete. Having a strong mindset towards it's more towards discipline. But if you've got that mindset where you're disciplined with every single part of the sport, and this is from like the little things to the main things, like your training all the way down to making sure you're going to bed at the same time every night, making sure you're getting the right amount of sleep, and also to diet and stuff. I think the dedication that you've got to have to be at the top of your sport, whether that is bodybuilding or whatever sport you choose, has to be different, like way different to everyone else. 100%.
Yeah. Go on. I was gonna add, I think most of it comes down to the differences outside of the gym, because a lot of people can push it hard in the gym, but I think what separates people is things like sleep, things like staying on it with your diet, things like, if you've got a big session the next day, not going out and getting absolutely smashed the night before, things like that. I think things like, because
I felt like that was targeted at someone.
No. But on a serious note, though, like the whole thing with an athlete is that not just like your whole life is dedicated to it. Yeah. So that can't just be in the gym; has to be outside the gym as well. I also think just willingness to compete. Like, you can't really you can call yourself a bodybuilder if you haven't competed, but you're really only a proper bodybuilder if you're competing. You'd only really call yourself a proper powerlifter if you're competing. So I would definitely say, jumping into a bodybuilding show or a powerlifting meet early so you can gain that experience. And even if you don't place very well, just that experience and learning how to deal with the pressure of competition is something that separates people.
100%. Also, I think another thing is, from when you're starting, if you have this goal, like, we're still all basically in the start of our training, like our careers, like training careers, we're still really young. I think from the time you start, for the first 5, for the whole point of your training, but more particularly for the first 5 years, you have to drop your ego and just understand that you don't know anything about what is compared what it is to be a top athlete yet. You need to take on board everything that other people are saying to you, every little thing that someone is saying to you, because there's so much to learn that a lot of people don't actually understand. Like, bodybuilders are learning stuff today. So I think specifically when you start, you don't know anything. Just drop your ego straight away, because you honestly don't know anything compared to what there is to come. Like, compared to the elite level guys, we don't know anything. Like, there's so much to know. So much to know.
But to add to what Elliot said, I would say that there are so many mixed opinions on so many things when it comes to the gym, and there's also a lot of false information out there. So I would say doing your own research is very important, so you can sift through what's valuable information and what is like BS, because you'll get a lot of people in the gym that have different training philosophies, and they may work but they might not be optimal. Like, for example, all of us train our body parts like 2 times a week, for example, most times. Whereas a lot of guys in the gym might tell you, no, train everything once a week. Whereas we know that that's not fully optimal. So I would say start doing your own research as well. That's a big thing. So you know kind of what's correct and what's not, and you can take the information people are saying and use it properly.
Form your own opinion.
Do you know what I think separates? It comes. Do you know what? Yeah, I've been watching the Michael Jordan documentary. Mad, yeah, just had to say
Last
that.
Dance is sick.
Yeah,
It's so sick.
so sick. But do you know what? Like, I was thinking about this, and these are perfect questions. I was seeing it today. I was like, that is what makes him an athlete. But this happens in any sports, yeah. What makes, like, with a bodybuilder, powerlifter as well, what makes them an athlete, I think, is they have a different, like you said, mentality. They have a different mentality. They have a mentality to go out there and win. Whatever they're doing, whatever that is, they want to win. They want to be the best. They want to be the man that everyone looks up to, and whatever like
100%.
sports that is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's because Michael Jordan came to mind. He wanted to be the best. He didn't want to be compared to no one else. When he was compared, he was like, "No, fuck that! Like, I'm gonna prove on the court I'm better than him." And that's the same with gym. Like, you want to go out there, like, especially like with powerlifting, Nathaniel, and bodybuilding as well. But you want to go out there. Someone's deadlifting more. No, I'm gonna deadlift more than him. That makes you an athlete, knowing that.
Yeah.
No, fuck. No, I ain't gonna sit back and think, "Fuck it, I can't do it." You're gonna go out there and be like, "No, I'm gonna fucking do better than him. I'm gonna be the best."
Yeah, and also there's two sides to that. You need that competitive drive, but it's also the thing Elliot said earlier about not letting your ego get the better of you. So you have to have a balance between the both of them. But you definitely are not going to get there without a competitive drive. And don't let people tell you that competitive drive is a negative thing. That is what drives every single successful person, I think, has that little competitive drive where when they see someone doing something good, they want to do as well or even better. And that's a normal, healthy thing. And I think if done correctly and safely, will lead to your success.
I like Thor and Eddie Hall going to a boxing match.
No, that's happening. It's 100%.
Bro, September 2021.
Yeah, it got announced.
It's gonna be sick.
Those
I'm
guys
back
are
in
making
Eddie.
bank.
We don't want to get into this too much. We don't want to get into this too much. But who do you guys think is going to win? 2 seconds, quick.
Eddie.
You think Eddie?
Have you seen Eddie box? He's actually pretty good for his size.
Yeah, I don't know. We won't get into it. I don't want to get into it.
I'm gonna send you a video. 4's stiff, you know. 4's actually stiff.
What's the height difference?
6 inches.
Eddie's 6'4", isn't he?
Eddie's
6'3".
6'3".
Eddie's 6'3".
Eddie's
4'6".
I was going to say that.
Eddie's 6'3".
4 is 205 kilos, like 450 pounds.
No, he'll have to cut weight.
Extra
You
strong.
have to cut weight.
100%. But still, like right now.
Similar weight.
Back on
But
topic.
Paul will have the reach as well. Yeah, he'll have the reach as well.
Eddie will
but
get under.
I'll send you the video. Because 4 is stiff. He's stiff. Like Eddie's done a charity boxing match in the past. He's actually done a boxing match and he's decent. So,
Jamie, what's your opinion on not on the Eddie thing? On
Wait, on what? On
the athlete. What separates an athlete from someone?
Them having long-term goals. Like you want to be on stage.
Yeah.
Nathaniel wants to be the best. If you don't have that long-term goal from the beginning, you're not working to anything.
That's facts.
Yeah.
A vision.
that makes sense.
Always work towards that long-term goal.
100%. I like that.
Okay, well, leading on from that, it links quite nicely. So the topic of like cutting off people in your life in order to succeed. So where do you stand on that? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I still need to cut off Elliot.
Wow, really said it. But for real though. I think, in my opinion, from my own experience, I don't think nothing's happened where I've been like, oh, I've got to cut this certain person off. I've got to cut this. Or it kind of just happens naturally, if that makes sense. So you end up doing your thing, they end up doing their thing, and it just kind of drifts away. So when you're like so set on something and so focused on something, if you're going in that direction and the other person's not, you're not gonna cross paths at all. You're gonna be doing your thing. Like a lot of you, I wouldn't have met apart from Callum and I wouldn't have met Connor and Nathaniel if it weren't for me going down this like gym path, this like trying kind of like YouTube path, etc. And I wouldn't have met you guys. I might have met people who were more negative for me or something like that. But obviously you guys are positive for me, so it kind of works that way in the sense of it kind of just happens naturally for me, in my opinion. But I don't know if you guys have something else.
I was gonna say, I think that I have a slightly different opinion to Elliot. I think that because obviously all of us started in like, you know what, year 9, year 10, year 11, that kind of age, right? So we would have had friends that were not into the gym, but just from school or football, basketball, stuff like that, right? And one thing you'll see is that the difference between a lot of us and, you know, people that, you know, maybe don't go to the gym or don't have a lot of goals is when we talk about stuff, we talk about, you know, our goals for the future and we aspire to do better. When you talk to a lot of people that don't have ambitions, they like talking a lot about what they can't do. Like they'll talk about, oh no, I could never do that. Like if you talk about your diet and how you're cutting and how you've cut out this food, they're like, oh, I could never cut out that food and things like that. So the mindset of like maybe just a normal person and someone that's actually wants to be the best is so different that I think that if you're not careful, you don't cut them off, it can even like poison your mind in a sense. It can deter you from your goal because the mindset of a normal person and someone who wants to be the best is so different. So I think that you might have to from like past friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do 100% agree.
I think that it does come to the point where I think we mentioned it in the last episode as well, that if you surround yourself with certain type of people, you will inevitably become that type of person.
Product of your environment.
You are a product of your own environment, yeah. So I can't even remember who said the quote, but it's show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So surrounding yourself with people that push you and they're in the same sort of industry, same similar goals, etc., will 100% make you go further and definitely push 100% a lot more. But we need to stop saying 100%. I just remember.
Oh yeah, I saw someone calling that.
Oh yeah, we do.
You know what? It was
definitely.
it. Now that
Who says the most? Who says the most? I think it's Elliot. It's Elliot.
Either me or Nathaniel. I think Nathaniel says
It's
it a
one of
lot.
us.
No. Back on topic.
Yeah.
I think I put up my Instagram story a couple of days ago actually. Like I fully realised it and I fully took it in and deeped it that if you do keep those people around you that will slow you down and hold you back, it's just not worth it in the long run. Because
100%.
Definitely. You said it again. You said it again. Yeah, I tried to say definitely.
it's hard not to say.
I saw someone. I would expect Callum to say something like that, JB.
Maybe. What did he say?
Every time someone says 100%, we got to do a shot.
Whoa. Hold up. Why am I
gone? Sounds like James Blaine's live.
Yeah. Bro, that's Elliot, isn't it? Bro, that's Elliot.
Oh wait, back to topic.
Yeah.
What was he talking about?
No. What's
You were saying something, Connor.
No, I'm done. That's
you.
I can't remember who I saw. It was an athlete, and he was talking about that actually. Someone was like, "Oh, did you have friends back in the day who like were just there for the tag along? Like, what did you do about it?" And he turned around and kind of said, "No, I let them tag along." He said, "But I always knew which friends were there for the meaning and which friends were there just for the tag, just for the party." He turned around and said, like, I'll let them tag along. I'll let them, because you know what, at the end of the day, they'll be the ones that, because they're loving it, they're going to be spreading the word about me because they want more people to know and they're loving the fame as well. And that's fine. But when it gets to the real shit, then I know who I'm going to. Like, I know who that I'm. Wait, I swore. Like, is that allowed on here? Yeah.
Yeah, no. I said 100%.
Jamie.
Yeah. But he was like, I'll let them tag along. But when it comes down to like the proper stuff, I know who's my real mates and who I'm actually going to be supporting, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite good.
That's good, yeah.
It's always carrying on from everyone. Like, you don't have to cut them off. They can come with you, and if they want to grow with you, they can. But you're surrounding yourself with the right people that you want to be around. It's like it's their business if they want to come with you, rather than your business to bring them with you.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
There's a difference with people who you surround yourself with compared to people that surround themselves around you.
Yeah.
Also,
we can all agree. Sorry, wait. I'll just quickly. But we can all agree that because of Connor lives far from us now. Like, not always, but we're not together. We all have separate friendship groups like outside of gym as well. Like, we're all really close outside of gym as well. But what I'm saying is, like, everyone has different groups of friendships for different things. Kind of going back to what Callum said as well. Like, it's kind of like it's just one of them things. Like, it kind of just happens naturally. Like, you don't really need to do it yourself. But
I was gonna say there's a time and a place because like I have no problem. Like my friends from secondary school that aren't into the bodybuilding stuff, I haven't cut them off. I still talk to those guys, maybe not as frequently as I used to, but a lot of them go to like different schools now. But like when it comes time, like if I'm going for a big PR or something, I know which group chat I'm texting, and it's the all things FOT group chat.
Yeah.
So, like, you can still,
famous group.
yeah. But what I was gonna say, you can still have your old friends and things like that. But I think you also need to think about when you consult them and how much of what they say you listen to. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Like,
Because when the
I'm just gonna ignore it anyway.
when the
I can't even remember what I was gonna say.
those thousands of messages in it, he's looking for that
I
chat.
love it, man.
Wait, what? Next question.
All right. Well, this one's sort of like you can go down many different ways with this. So it's like tips for teens starting the gym, what to do in terms of diet. So, but we can talk about diet and we can talk about gym and just everything about it.
Okay,
So
training,
basically, tips for beginners in the gym.
Who's going?
I'll go.
Yeah, go on, Jay.
To be honest, to start with, I didn't pay much attention to your diet. I don't think you need to pay much attention. You just got to increase your calories while increasing protein as well. But you don't have to be on a strict diet from the get-go because you won't enjoy it.
Yeah, the thing, I agree.
You don't have to.
Obviously, it's optimal, but let's be honest. If you're 15 years old, and you're like, eating chicken and rice, like I think obviously it's optimal. And if someone did that, they'd be a beast. But let's be honest, like Jamie said, it's about longevity. Connor, yeah. It's about longevity and doing it for a long period of time, or you get bored. But one thing I would say is, you have to really when this your question comes for about like what's your ideas on people starting when they first start. I think you need to look at your goals, because if you're planning on like competing and being the biggest you can be, like obviously Connor wants to be a Mr. Olympia, I want to compete, etc., etc. If you want to be the biggest you can be, I say for the first 2 years just eat and just bulk. Like, or try. Obviously, you want to be eating as clean as possible, but I'd say you need to be packing on mass. Like, honestly, obviously, if you're not going to compete or anything, maybe just you could be on a lean bulk, etc. But if you want to pack on mass, you got to increase them calories over 2 years.
I think the main mistake that most make, which I made as well, was you don't want to not be lean. Like, you want to have that six pack. Especially when you're young, you're kind of doing it to. You might enjoy it, but a lot of the reason behind it is gels and getting or whatever like you're into. Getting and you want to be lean. Like when I first started, I did not want to put on any fat at all, and I did that photo shoot, and it was way too like.
I remember you saying
so skinny.
How many calories was you on?
Bro, I was on like 1,200 calories. It was
that's bikini girl diet.
Yeah, I was like starving myself, and I was like, I'm getting shredded. Bro, I wish I didn't do it. I wish I just grew.
Yeah, my opinion on it, right? My opinion slightly changed over the past couple months, partly because of Coach Greg, because he's kind of been emphasizing that you can do a lean bulk. But one thing I would say is prioritizing putting on muscle, but focus. You don't want to major on minors. Like, what my big diet tip I would give is don't worry too much about supplements and things like that, because the amount of questions I get on supplements, do I take this creatine? Do I take this protein powder? If I take protein powder, will I put on weight? This that. It shows me that people have an inflated view of the effects of supplements, and supplements help, but they're not the be all and end all. The main thing is your overall diet. So don't look for supplements to kind of do what your main diet is meant to do. Your main diet is meant to supply you with enough energy and protein to grow. So don't focus too much on supplements. Just think about your actual diet.
Nothing beats good food, man. Honestly, nothing beats good food.
But as much as it's good to bulk, don't use bulking as an excuse to turbo bulk and just get fat. That's what a lot of people do. Because
definitely,
you can bulk, but when you're creeping up to like 25-30% body fat, you're gonna have to do such a long cut that whatever muscle you did gain, you're probably gonna lose half of it. So
Callum, I can see your eyes looking at me. Like, Callum, I can see your eyes looking at me. Stop looking at me.
Not Elliot. You were not 30% body fat.
No, I'm playing.
Do you know when I was picturing? Yeah, when Nathaniel was talking about that, all I was picturing him was just Elliot's just face like.
This guy's mocking it.
I don't think anyone.
No, he was nowhere near that. Let's be real. He was nowhere near that. Let's be real.
What is it, Elliot Brandon versus Callum Roberts?
No.
Throughout sessions.
No. I didn't say anything there. You brought it up.
Yeah.
I'm playing.
No.
Go on, who's next?
No.
Jamie, what are you saying?
I've already said something.
You started, didn't you?
I thought Jamie,
I had something, you know.
Oh yeah. I heard that.
Jamie, he's Jamie.
No, I'll
say that.
At first, I agree with Jamie though about the meal prepping and stuff like that. Unless you're really like straight away know you want to do like bodybuilding power and you want to get on that stage as soon as possible, then yes, obviously start doing the meal prep and that. But if you're just looking to get into it and you want to get into it, then the only way you're going to get into it and stay into going to the gym is actually enjoying it. And I do feel meal prepping, you lot could probably agree, it is a lot more stress and it is a lot more like you should know it because do, but it does put that added stress on you. So at first, Elliot can probably explain it better in science, but at first anyway, when you're first starting gym, you're actually putting a lot more muscle in the first month or 2 months. So anyway, even if you, let's say you're having
3 years, I'd say first 3 years.
Yeah. Let's say you're having just a decent diet, you're putting on a lot of muscle anyway. Because I don't know the science behind it, but it is proven in it. Obviously, you can explain more, but like what he was saying about, I think it was Mike Thurston, you know, he was saying like for people for 3 months, like you will put on a lot more muscle. And then you'll sort of start to level out again. But first, you'll spike up quick. So, yeah.
You get stronger before you get put on muscle. You neurologically adapt before you muscularly adapt. But obviously, on the first, I'd say, bro, like, how long do you lot reckon, like, newbie gains last? I think they last a
year
good
and a
time.
half.
I'll say the first 2.
Again, it depends on how you're training as well, I guess.
I was going to say, I think they last as long as your training is not optimal. Like, if your training is optimal from the beginning, then probably like 3 years. But if you know some people in the gym, how you see them for years and they have not increased. They're still doing, 50 on the bench press or something like that. If they're still noobs, like if they were to hop on a proper program and a proper diet, they probably make quick gains, but... Like
at Nathaniel Massiah.com.
Nathaniel Massiah.com. Protein coordinate 45.
C10 nils up house.
You're welcome.
He saved me 20 quid, yeah? Not even gonna cap.
Yeah, Nathaniel pay me. Yeah, come.
Oh wait, say that again. I didn't even hear. You cut out.
I said pay me later on, yeah. You're welcome.
Pay you what? No, this thing is bugging. Pay him
Bro, can you let me or not?
Next question.
It's bugging. No, my bad, Callum. No, every time you talk, it's bugging. I think
it did cut out for me as well. I don't know if it's for everyone, but it did.
A little bit.
Is it good?
It was bugging.
All right. Swiftly moving on. Being young and committing to the bodybuilding lifestyle, so that we can talk about like the sacrifices that you have to make compared to just like a normal teen or whatever. In order to succeed within the sport and what you've done maybe compared to what others haven't.
Personally, and I know for a fact Callum and Jamie can agree with me on this one. I think that like obviously when you're young, you want to live your life, man. Like honestly, yeah, we all want to be like, well, not all of us, that's a lie. There's some of us who want to be at the top, that we want to get really, really far, etc. But you have to live your life, let's be honest, especially at such a young age as well. I think I want to hear Connor's view on this as well, because well, we enjoy going out, we enjoy having fun, we enjoy doing all these things. But like I don't even know where I'm going with this.
The next day,
what I'm trying to say, you need to be able to live your life as well as like be training hard. Because I think personally, if you're gonna have one day off, yeah, like whatever, man, like cool. I know Connor wouldn't agree with me on that one, because obviously, and from a motivational thing, it's again, you just got to look at your goals.
It depends what your goals are. It depends what your goals are.
Yeah, it really depends what your goals are.
100%. It's a hard question.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question? I think I missed it.
Yeah, what?
committing to the bodybuilding lifestyle at a young age, and like, so we can talk about like the sacrifices you've had to make, or
perfect person for that, you know, and he gets a lot of stick for it. Is someone like Tristan Lee, you know, how like he committed at a very young age, and I think he gets a lot of stick, like, oh, it's not good for you, healthy and that. But he was like,
I think he gets that stick.
This guy's diet,
because he's short. People have that, you know, wrong mindset if they start growth. So because he's like 5'2", 5'3", people automatically assume that's the reason why. When it's not
growth,
But in terms of that question, if I talk about me personally, because I can only talk of my own experience, the main sacrifices I would say is just like, I don't know, if you go to a motive, not overdoing it because you know that you're training, or when it comes to sleep, not like staying up and watching that extra program, that extra episode when you know that you need to sleep because you need 8 hours if you want a good session the next day, or things like that. I think it's just the things that are built into our normal lives when we're not doing anything. But if you want peak performance, you're gonna have to cut a few things off. So that's the main thing I would say.
What I want to say something quickly before, because I know Connor's going to say a lot. I think I've completely forgot. I was about to come on some preaching. All right, cool. No, I remember now. What I think it is, I think it's bro. Why do I keep forgetting what I'm gonna say?
I Connor go and then we'll come back to you. We'll come back. Eddie, it's okay. It's okay.
I think coming back to
it is what it is.
Coming back to what everyone else said, it's sort of
it's okay.
100% to do with your goal. What you see yourself doing in the future and what you have set out for yourself to do will determine how you treat other aspects of your life outside of the gym, which is inevitably what is going to make you better inside the gym. So like for me, me saying this, I'm not putting any hate on any of my old friends at all from my old school, but they were all not into the...
Look at Elliot's face.
Which not many people are, so it's fine. But they all became like, I never smoked anything like that, like fags or anything, so I'd never really smoked, but they all became quite into smoking and doing other substances which you shouldn't, and which I don't do. And so I actually decided I was going to go to college in London and do the same course in London, but I decided, look, I just want a fresh start. I want to move away from all those people, take myself out of the equation. So I actually took the decision, because I knew I wanted to compete this year, to move out of London and just have a completely fresh start with brand new people, brand new school. Didn't know anyone. Annoyingly,
now look at that beautiful backdrop.
What do you say? No, I was about to say the backdrop looks lovely. Go on, Connor.
But yeah, annoyingly, because of circumstances, I'm not competing this year. But I did move out here and completely join a new school in order to focus and isolate myself away from everyone else to compete and to really fucking put everything into it. And that was one of the biggest sacrifices I've ever made. Again, even though I'm not competing, it's still a good choice and I'm enjoying it. But there's things like I haven't had an alcoholic drink, or I haven't been to like a motive since Reading Festival, which was August.
Certain man can't relate.
These man.
Whoa.
Are you finished? Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm pretty much finished. That's pretty much.
What I was gonna say, which I completely was gonna say.
Not me, I'm clean.
Huh?
I remember. Can I back this up now?
What?
Elliot, go.
What I was gonna say is, I think what people want to hear, or not people want to hear, but the ideal bodybuilders, the top pro bodybuilders, all the stuff like this, what people want to hear is the fact that, oh, you can't ever drink an alcoholic drink. You've got to always.
Yeah.
What realistic?
Whoa.
Go back.
Say that again. They kind of cut out.
Go back 5 seconds. Rewind.
But realistically, though, when you look at it, it's not going to be the same for everyone. People are gonna, if you're going to be that strict, it can sometimes be unhealthy for your mindset. Like, and I know a lot of people might disagree with that. Like, oh, you've got to give it your all. You got to give it 100%. And yeah, I agree. If you can do that, do it. But like, again, I'm one of them people who I want to have fun. I want to live my life as a kid. Like, I'm still young. I want to have fun. You know what I mean? That's what my point is.
Can I say quick while Jamie's doing that? I think people like to romanticize how hard, like, okay, being a bodybuilder is hard, yeah, I think society likes to romanticize how hard it is in order so that they have an excuse not to do it. So you know when actors talk about how they made their body transformation, they'll always say, yeah, I worked out 5 hours a day, I ate nothing but chicken breast, rice and broccoli, even though that's not necessarily what you need to do to get in that kind of shape. But I think they say those kind of things and society kind of laps it up so that they can feel better about them not doing it. Because the reality is, my diet, not that now that I'm cutting, but when I was bulking, my diet was not that much different from an average person's. Maybe I ate a bit more protein and I ate a bit more food, but it wasn't radically different. But the main
4,000 calories
training. Bodybuilding takes commitment and it takes heart, right? But it's not. You don't have, unless you're like prepping specifically for a show, you don't necessarily have to count every single macro. You don't have to have 0 cheat meals for 6 months. It doesn't have to be like that. If you're strategic with it, you can do like, if it fits your macros, and eat the food you want to in moderation.
Yeah. 100%.
Let me one more thing before someone else says something. So obviously I've experienced both sides of life. So I've both sides of life. So like I used to go to motives.
Whoa!
He's only 17. He's only 17.
Like when I was in secondary school, I'd go to motives like every weekend, and I'd get smashed out of my head.
Yeah.
I'd honestly, I enjoyed it, but now that I've done this, I don't think I'd do it again properly.
Yeah.
And I 100% prefer this lifestyle, even though it is hard. Like with my bulk, I was very, very like meticulous with everything. I had certain meals have to go in. If I was late, if I missed a meal, I'd never miss a meal.
Don't miss
I would like 2 a.m. if I had to have it. Like
Merch coming soon.
I just remember this guy pulling out Rice Krispies out of his bag when he like finished the session at King.
And milk. And like, bags of milk. In the gym.
I remember one time, I'm pretty sure before the session, he had a massive pot, of rice, chicken, everything like that, And I was like, what, you're doing that right before a workout? I was like, I'll be sick, like. He was like, no, I can't. Done the workout. And then after the workout, I thought, fucked, I'm going home. Connor's there with a bowl. Not a bowl. No. A bowl. Like a bowl.
A bowl.
Like a Rice Krispies.
A bowl.
When Connor, I don't think people realise, when Connor puts on his story, I'm about to have a bowl of cereal. Bro, it's not just your normal standard.
I just done that just before this.
That's what my mum does for cooking. Like,
bro, it was like one of the sessions I turned up to King. I turned up like 2-3 hours before I was planning to train. I ate a meal, I rested, I chilled. Marvin got there, we trained, then I ate again. I went home, I slept, I woke up, I ate, I went back to bed. Bro, I put everything into this. Like, I
remember those sessions with Marvin. Like, Elliot would be like, "Yeah, we got to the gym, Connor, or we got to the gym when Connor hadn't started yet. We did our 2.5-hour session, and they were on their 3rd exercise."
Oh, yeah.
Remember he told me that you and Marvin.
Yeah, me and Mark, bro. I'm telling you, when I'm done with college and I move back to London, and me and him are full-time trading partners, it's game.
When that happens, bro, we've said it so many times. Oh my god, it's gonna be insane.
I cannot be
insane. It's mad.
Bro, do you know a perfect saying for Connor's mindset? It just came to my head. It is I want to get this right. I don't want to say it wrong. So it says instead of eating the fruits of your labour, plant more seeds in it. That's what Connor does. Instead of sitting back and like, oh, do you know what? I can have a break. Actually, fuck that. Let me plant more seeds. Let me train harder and keep.
You're hard.
You like that? You can take that seconds in many different ways. Thank you.
Much coming soon.
All I'm saying is, come to me for motivation. You're welcome.
Elliot. All right, Jamie, Cal, whoever's next, go on. Let's talk.
What was the question?
Sacrifice to being a bodybuilder when you're young.
Wow, yeah, we've gone off track.
Well, we kind of stayed on, but it went off a little bit.
No, we have, yeah. All counts.
Yeah.
In terms of me and Callum, I don't think we made too many because of our goals. Like, we can't talk on a level that all of you can. Obviously, we might not go to motive the next day for one time, not have one too many drinks. but we always made up for it the next day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, you still got to the gym.
That's
I
right.
remember you got come
They are
and like
best.
hungover and shit. Like you still train.
Oh, do you remember my one? Do you remember my one, Nathaniel?
Yeah, I remember Jamie's one. He threw up like 3 times that session. But I remember, I remember with Mike Thurston, like he was saying that because we were like when he was younger.
I know exactly what video you're talking about. I know exactly what video.
Yeah, like he used to get smashed, but he would every single time go to the gym
Yeah.
the next day.
Do
Always.
you not remember mine? Yeah, we had the biggest session planned. Yeah, Nathaniel was going for a mad deadlift. Yeah, CJ. This is the first time seeing CJ. Yeah, big guy by the way. Yeah, and like it was a big session.
CJ, if you're watching this, love.
Big up CJ. I know he'll be watching this, and I know he'll be reaching
Yeah,
the end as
100.
well. Because big up CJ, man.
Only person
Big
that
up
wasn't there was
CJ.
me. Yeah, but it was due to be a big session. But we planned this after I planned to go out the night before. Anyway, it was going to be a long night the night before. But I was like, all right, cool. Like most people would have been like, so I went to what I'd done, yeah, whatever, yeah. I got back, yeah, had 1 hour's sleep, got up at 9 o'clock, yeah, and I was like, oh, do I do this? It's like, no, I've got to. I went to gym and still had a session and got it in. Like, I remember that, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I do not advise anyone to do that, yeah, at all, yeah, because I learned from that now, yeah. But what I'm saying is, with me and Jamie especially, I've never actually sacrificed anything for gym, but I've just made smarter decisions with what I do. So let's say I know I'm going to have a big session tomorrow. If I'm going to have a big session tomorrow, yeah, I can go to a party. I can still enjoy myself. I can be home at 2 a.m, yeah, because we have late gym sessions, to be fair. So we work it round, yeah, so I get enough sleep in. But then I decide, you know what? I'm not going to get drunk. I'll just have 2 drinks, 3 drinks, and that will do me. That will be fine. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to go overboard with it. I don't have to be hungover.
At least more and more than we end up.
No, one thing I was gonna say. Go on, Callum.
It's true. No, I was gonna say it's true. Like you just got to be smart with it. Like if you're in mine and James' position anyway. Obviously with yours it's a bit different.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say is I think it's good that we have all of us in this podcast because you've got Connor, who has like extremely big goals for bodybuilding, like Mr. Olympia. I'm not 100%. I know Elliot wants to compete, so he obviously wants to get into bodybuilding. I'm trying to get into powerlifting, but I feel like the majority of people watching this podcast will be in Jamie and Callum's situation where they don't necessarily want to commit their whole life to the gym, but they still love working out and probably going to work out for the rest of their life just because they love it. You know what I mean? So I feel like having you guys in the podcast is really valuable because you kind of have a similar perspective to a lot of people watching it and you give me more relatable. So
100%.
For sure.
That's it. I like how we ended it off then because that was
I
good.
think we've gone for long enough.
Yeah, I've got one question for everyone.
Go on.
Yeah.
Who was your first fitness industry model idol? Like, who was the first person you looked up to in the fitness industry?
I know mine. I think you two could probably guess it. Well, you could probably go and say it, and I'll say
first.
Mike Thurston.
Yeah, straight up. Mike Thurston. Just. Oh,
James, big James.
Big up James.
Big.
I think. Wait, so Callum, yours is Mike Thurston. What's yours, Jamie?
Mine, I'm not even the cat. It was Bradley Martin. Like, he was so big on YouTube. He was the first person I saw, and I was like, "This is crazy."
I'd probably say getting me into going to the gym. I'd say Mike Thurston because of his videos. He's the OG. Like from the start, his videos probably that's just going into the gym and training, not bodybuilding. And I'd say bodybuilding, probably someone like Ronnie Coleman, because
do you know
the way Ronnie Coleman trains is ridiculous. That's what I just kind of go on.
Elliot, do you know what? Yeah, and tell me if I'm completely wrong. Yeah, but I actually think, one of the people that inspired you the most, and I don't think you realised it yet, and it doesn't always have to be famous people, because before, like, when we was at Snap Fitness, I think one of the people that inspired you to get into it was Rich, Like, I reckon, just
indirectly, without thinking about it, probably.
Yes, because I think that was the first time, because our old gym, you never used to have anyone big, like, everyone was just kind of fitness-wise. But we had this one guy who's rich, and he could go.
He used to compete, and he's probably I don't know how old he is. He's massive.
And obviously, you started
saying one finger before.
Yeah. You started speaking to him, and ever since then, I remember after you started to get friends with him, you started to get into more posing and that. I remember you started to like take more photos. So I felt like maybe sometimes you don't even realize.
That's a good shout. That's a good shout. Definitely.
my
Go on,
one-
Con. And all Nathaniel, sorry. No, go on,
Wait.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, for my one, the first fitness video I actually probably watched was in 2013. It's actually Rich Piana. Funny enough, Rich Piana. But I'd say
Video
most
good.
recently, well, when I started my proper fitness journey when I was 14 years old, it was David Lade. David Lade, probably.
I knew you were going to say that. Never
Yeah,
can.
you've always said him. You've
I
always
think
said him.
for most young teenagers, David Lade's.
It is him.
It is.
I've never, like, I enjoy watching David Lade's videos sometimes, but I've never, from the start, I never really knew who he was till I started.
Neither did I.
Because the fitness industry was all older guys, 25 and up.
Yeah.
And he was the only guy, 17, 18 years old doing it. He was the first young guy. Because there was like Matt August, Yucky Lovato, people like that. And then there was him. So, yeah.
Go on, Con. Oh, it's James.
No, I've already said it. I've already said James.
Yeah, James Holland said, yeah.
Biggest guy.
I remember the first time meeting him, I was like, trying to shake his hand. It's one hand.
That is the first time I met James. Like back in
Man,
whatever
that's
year.
mental.
The first time we didn't speak to him, but the first time we saw James, he was doing some ridiculous hack squat. Bro, oh my God. So he was like,
so strong.
Oh my God. Oh, it was insane.
I remember, because I came into Kings later than Elliot, because obviously Elliot was the first one, I remember when we came in, James was on leg press. I had no clue who he was, because obviously I didn't know much about bodybuilding then or anything like that. That was before when I was going gym, And I remember I walked in, and all I hear James going, boom, boom. And obviously, he coming from a commercial gym, that was like very new to me. I was like, whoa. And I was like to Elliot, I was like, who's that? Like, he's huge. Like, are you seeing the way he's lifting? He's like, bro, do you not know who he is? I was like, not a clue. He's like, James. Like, search him up. I was like, wow. Right. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Cool. All right. It's been a bit over, but it's good. Right. So that is
clapping. I'm an idiot. I expected you to join him, but no one joined him. We'll leave it there.
We can do it.
If you watched the whole video, well done. Thank you. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe.
Put a comment. What should they comment if they reached it to here and they hear it?
Yeah, NYEAH. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Comment, if you made it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, we're going to do episode 3 at some point in the future on Nathaniel's channel. But all the boys' Instagrams and YouTubes or whatnot will be in the description, so go check them out. Thank you for watching, and good night.
Peace. See you guys in a bit.